It's always difficult for close family and friends when someone dies, but sorting out their affairs can be equally traumatic and stressful. Most people have no idea what they have to do. Julian, what actually needs to happen when dealing with the affairs of someone who's recently died?
Well, it's a difficult time, but there are a few points that do need to be looked at the beginning. And these are, firstly, is there a will? The will could be at home in a drawer, or it could be with the bank or with a solicitor. Assuming there's a will, the next question is, who are the executors? They're the people who are charged with dealing with the estate and carrying out the wishes. And then, is it a valuable estate? If it's worth more than £325,000, inheritance tax is generally payable.
So what sort of problems can arise in administering an estate?
A number of issues can arise, and to give a few examples. The first is probably what's in the estate. The executor needs to find out what the assets of the estate are and also what the liabilities are. And then the executor can calculate the inheritance tax due and pay the estate out in accordance with the terms of the will. One of the things about the intestacy rules that people don't always appreciate is that they don't provide for friends or long-term partners to inherit anything. That can lead to disappointment, and that's really why it's so important to consider making a will. Another issue is that sometimes there's property abroad. This could be a house or some shares. And when this happens, it's necessary to consider the local tax position and also often apply for the foreign equivalent of a grant of probate.
What happens if there's no will?
If there's no will, the estate is distributed in accordance with a set of rules called the intestacy rules. They're complicated, but to give you a few examples, if there is a surviving spouse or civil partner, they take a fixed sum legacy, which is called a statutory legacy. The amount of the statutory legacy varies according to whether there are children or not. If there are children, it's £250,000. If there are no children, it's £450,000. The surviving spouse also takes the personal possessions. And if the estate is worth more than the statutory legacy, then the rules provide for a distribution of that balance between the spouse, the children if there are some, and more distant relatives if there are no children. If there's no surviving spouse and there are no surviving children either, then the estate is distributed to the blood family of the person who's died in the order parents first, brothers and sisters, nephews and nieces, uncles and aunts. We'd be happy to advise anybody on this complicated area. Our contact details are on the screen, and we can be contacted by telephone and email.